Emma Whitmore thought she was untouchable. Rich, respected, and a racist. Now, abandoned by the world she thought she owned, she lies helpless before the very people she dismissed. Every breath is a battle. Every moment, a reckoning. Before we dive in, comment where you're watching from, and don't forget to subscribe, because that encourages us to bring you more powerful stories like this. The rain came down in sheets, blurring the world into a mess of grays and whites. Emma Whitmore tightened her grip on the steering wheel, knuckles bone-white under the flickering dashboard lights. Her breathing came in shallow bursts. The contractions were closer now, sharp, punishing waves that left her gasping. "This can't be happening tonight," she muttered, teeth clenched. She had never needed anyone before, and she wasn't about to start now. Ahead, the glowing red letters of Horizon Medical Center cut through the storm like a beacon. Relief and resentment warred inside her. She hated this part of town. It was dirty, dangerous, filled with people she blamed for everything wrong in the world. She never said it out loud. Well, not always, but it sat inside her like a stone. Cold, heavy, and unmovable. Emma pulled into the emergency lane, tires screeching on the wet asphalt. A group of nurses huddled near the doors, sheltering under the awning. For a moment, they looked at her, really looked, and she saw something she didn't recognize right away. Not pity, not concern, indifference, maybe even something colder. Another contraction tore through her, and she cried out despite herself. No one moved. Heart pounding, Emma forced herself out of the car. The rain hit her like icy needles. She staggered forward, one hand cradling her belly, the other raised weakly for help. "Somebody!" she shouted. Her voice cracked. The nurses whispered among themselves. A security guard glanced over, shrugged, and turned back to his phone. Panic, unfamiliar and raw, started bubbling up her throat. Emma had lived her whole life believing the world owed her attention, service, respect. Now, on the slick concrete of a hospital she despised, she found herself invisible. "No, no, no," she whispered to the night. She was on her own. Another contraction bent her double. She screamed, a sound ripped straight from her core, primal and desperate. Finally, a nurse in blue scrubs pushed a wheelchair toward her, moving slow, cautious. Emma gritted her teeth. She didn't want their charity. She didn't want her help. But her body, traitorous and weak, slumped into the chair without a fight. The wheels squeaked as they rolled her inside, swallowed by the harsh fluorescent lights and the indifferent hum of the hospital. The storm raged behind them. Inside the hospital, the air smelled sharp, antiseptic and something sour underneath, like fear. Emma Whitmore gripped the arms of the wheelchair, water dripping from her soaked clothes onto the linoleum floor. Her blonde hair clung to her face in wild, wet strands. "Where's the doctor?" she barked. "I'm not sitting here all night." The few nurses behind the reception desk stiffened. One of them, a tall man with glasses, muttered something under his breath. Another, a woman with a silver badge that said charge nurse, gave Emma a flat, measured look. They knew her. Not personally, but enough. Emma had been here before, a broken wrist once, a neighbor's dog bite another time. Each visit the same. Loud complaints, cutting remarks. "Do you people even know what you're doing?" spat across the counter. She made sure everyone remembered her, and they did. Now, it was payback time. "I need a room. I'm having a baby, for God's sake." Emma shouted, clutching her belly as another contraction ripped through her. She caught the way some of them whispered to each other, side eyes flickering. They weren't moving fast enough. Not for her. "I'm white," she hissed under her breath, low and frantic, hoping to remind them. "I'm not one of these." She trailed off, lips pressed into a hard, trembling line. But the words hung in the air anyway, thick and ugly. The receptionist tapped at a keyboard slowly. Too slowly. The security guard by the entrance leaned against the wall, arms folded, uninterested. A janitor mopped nearby, headphones in, moving to a beat Emma couldn't hear. Panic clawed at her insides, sharp as glass. She masked it the only way she knew how, Rage. You're all useless. Get me a doctor or I swear I'll sew this dump into the ground. Some patients waiting on plastic chairs watched the scene unfold with tired, wary expressions. Others turned away, as if Emma's rage was contagious. Still no one rushed to her side. Her anger wasn't working. Her threats weren't magic tonight. And in that moment, sweaty, shivering, and slowly drowning in fear, Emma realized something she had never understood before. Out here, in the real world, she was just another woman in pain. Nothing more. Nothing less. Another contraction doubled her over. She cried out, a raw animal sound. Still, they kept their distance. Emma sat slumped in the wheelchair, her soaked dress clinging to her skin, her body betraying her with every fresh wave of pain. No one met her eyes anymore. Not the nurses huddled by the desk. Not the security guard staring at his phone. Not even the janitor, whose mop swished rhythmically across the floor just a few feet away. She was alone. Utterly alone. Please, she whimpered, voice cracking. Please, someone help me. But no one moved. Tears stung her eyes. She wasn't used to being ignored. She wasn't used to begging. Another contraction twisted inside her, and she cried out. But it was weaker now, a thin, broken sound that barely filled the sterile hallway. Emma's head sagged forward, and through the pain and the exhaustion, memories began to rise, unbidden. She flashed back to when she was 15, laughing with friends outside a mall. An older black woman passed by, and Emma had wrinkled her nose, muttering under her breath, "Smells like fried chicken." Her friends had giggled, a sharp, cruel sound, and no one had corrected her. She flashed back again during a job interview. She had sat across from a polished black woman in a crisp blazer. Emma had smiled too tightly, said things like, "You speak so well, and you're very professional. You know, for someone like you." She thought she was giving compliments. She also remembered her past in line at the grocery store. An elderly black man had dropped his wallet. Emma had hesitated, not helping, watching the others scramble to assist. She had told herself it wasn't her problem. It had never been her problem. Until now. Pain lanced through her again. This time accompanied by a flood of terror so real it clawed at her throat. Her pride, the sharp, glittering armor she wore so well, began to crack. What if she had to deliver the baby right here? What if no one helped her? What if she wasn't important enough to save? Emma pressed her hands against her belly, sobbing quietly. Her legs felt heavy, her hands numb. The loneliness was a living thing now, circling her like a hungry wolf. The hospital sounds blurred, phones ringing, distant voices, but no one came for her. She lowered her head and whispered a prayer she hadn't spoken since she was a child. God, help me. But the only answer was the buzz of fluorescent lights overhead. Alana Brooks, a black nurse, watches from a distance as Emma Whitmore sits alone in the hallway, writhing in pain. Her eyes linger on the scene before her, the woman's clenched fists, her deep breaths, the desperation in the way she's pulling at her hospital gown. Conflict stirs inside Alana. Part of her wants to walk away. It's not the first time she's seen someone like Emma, someone who spent years looking down on others. She could easily step back into the crowd, pretend she hadn't seen the woman. It would be easier, far easier. But another part of her knows better. Compassion doesn't work in tidy packages, and sometimes, the people who need it most are the ones who least expect it. With a steady breath, Alana decides. She walks over to Emma, whose face is flushed, and who's still throwing glances of suspicion at everyone around her. "Excuse me," Alana says softly, her voice carrying an air of professionalism. Emma looks up, eyes narrowed, as if trying to assess whether Alana is friend or foe. "I'm Alana Brooks. I'll be the nurse helping you today." Emma barely reacts, her face twisted with pain and frustration. She grits her teeth. "You? I need someone who knows what they're doing. I don't need a—" "Let's get you comfortable," Alana interrupts, her tone even, unshaken. "I understand you're in a lot of pain, but we can help you. Let me get you to a delivery room." Emma doesn't respond, but the hostility in her eyes is evident. Still, Alana doesn't flinch. She rolls Emma gently to the delivery room, pushing the wheelchair slowly. Along the way, Emma mutters insults under her breath, but Alana remains professional, unbothered. "Is it your first?" Alana asks, trying to make conversation, offering some human connection. Emma sneers. "What does it matter to you?" Alana glances down, keeping her voice calm. "It matters because I'm here to help you. It's my job to make sure you and your baby are safe." "Safe?" Emma scoffs. "I don't need help from someone like you. I can manage just fine." Alana doesn't engage further with Emma's bitterness. She simply continues to roll the wheelchair forward, her focus entirely on the task at hand. They enter the delivery room, and the door closes softly behind them. Alana's professionalism fills the sterile room as she adjusts the bed and prepares the necessary equipment. Emma glares at her, breathing heavily as another contraction surges through her. "Just leave me alone," Emma snaps. But Alana, undeterred, begins preparing for the birth with steady hands. She knows that in this moment, despite the hatred Emma might harbor, she needs someone who can see past that. Past all the walls that have been built up, past all the hate. Alana looks at Emma. "I'm not going anywhere." The hours stretch on in the sterile white room, filled only with the sounds of Emma's labored breathing, the soft beep of machines, and the occasional shuffle of footsteps outside the door. Emma grips the sides of the bed, her knuckles white, as the intensity of the contractions grows unbearable. Her face is contorted with pain, and every breath feels like it might be her last. Alana remains by her side, calm and collected, her voice steady, a lifeline in the chaos. She moves effortlessly around the room, adjusting the drip, monitoring the machines, and occasionally offering a soft word of encouragement. "You're doing great, Emma. Just breathe," Alana says gently, her eyes locked on the patient. Emma's eyes flicker over to Alana, but there's a mixture of defiance and vulnerability in them. She's still angry, still in pain, but beneath it all, something is changing. Alana wipes a damp cloth across Emma's forehead, a simple act of care that feels almost sacred in the midst of this painful journey. The cloth cools her skin, a small comfort amidst the storm of contractions, and Emma's tense body relaxes just a fraction. "It's okay. You're almost there. Just one more push, I promise," Alana continues, her words firm but soothing. Emma's chest heaves with each breath as she glares at the ceiling, trying to block out everything. "One more push? I don't think I can do this," Emma cries, her voice cracking with exhaustion and frustration. "You can," Alana insists, her voice unwavering. "You've already come this far. You're strong, Emma. You're stronger than you think." Emma glares at her, but there's something different in her gaze now, less hostility, more desperation. She's terrified, vulnerable in a way she's never allowed herself to be before. The pain, the fear, the exhaustion are wearing down the walls she's built up over a lifetime of prejudice and pride. For a moment, she stops fighting. She lets out a long, shaky breath and sinks back into the bed, her body trembling. Alana notices her eyes soften ever so slightly, no longer full of suspicion, but something more akin to gratitude. An unspoken acknowledgement that in this moment, despite everything, Alana is her only ally. Another contraction hits, and Emma's entire body tenses, her breath catching in her throat. Alana moves closer, her hand gently resting on Emma's arm. "Focus on me, Emma. Breathe with me," Alana instructs. "You can do this. You're not alone." Emma looks at her again, this time with a hint of vulnerability. Her breath is ragged, her face pale, and for a brief, fleeting moment, the walls she's built up around her crack. She sees Alana, not as a black nurse, not as a stranger with her own life and struggles, but simply as another human being, a woman who understands the fragility of life, who understands pain. "Why are you helping me?" Emma manages to gasp, her voice barely a whisper. Alana meets her gaze, her eyes soft with understanding. "Because it's what I do. We're all just people, Emma. And right now, you need me." Emma's tears start to flow freely now, no longer held back by pride or prejudice. The reality of the situation, the gravity of what she's going through, has stripped her of the walls she spent so many years building. Another contraction hits, and this time, Emma doesn't fight it. She doesn't shout or insult. She breathes deeply and pushes, her body working with Alana's calm encouragement. "You've got this. Keep going," Alana says softly. Time seems to stretch on for eternity. Each contraction feels like it might be the last. The pain is immense, but Alana's presence is a constant, a steady anchor in the storm. Emma clenches her fists, but this time, she's not angry, she's simply exhausted. As the minutes pass, the pain finally reaches its peak, and Emma cries out, pushing with all her remaining strength. Alana's voice is the only thing that cuts through the pain. "Good job. Just a little more. You're doing so well." And then, with a final, overwhelming surge of energy, Emma gives one last push. The room seems to hold its breath. Emma collapses back into the bed, gasping for air, her face pale and slick with sweat. Emma's eyes widen in disbelief as she looks down at her newborn, the pain of the last few hours already fading into the background. For a moment, all is silent. Emma looks up at Alana, her face soft with awe and wonder, the hostility from before entirely gone. "Thank you," Emma whispers, her voice breaking. I didn't think you would." Alana smiles, her eyes warm with understanding. "You're welcome, Emma. You made it." A soft cry breaks the silence, fragile and new. Alana looks down at the baby, the newborn girl, now placed gently in her arms. Her eyes are wide and alert, her small body wiggling with that fresh energy only a newborn can have. Emma, exhausted and panting, watches with a dazed expression, her vision blurry with tears. Her hands reach out shakily, and Alana, sensing her need, passes the baby into her trembling arms. The warmth of the tiny body sends a wave of emotion through Emma like nothing she has ever known before. For a long moment, Emma simply holds her daughter, staring at the delicate features, the soft skin, the tiny fingers that curl around her hand. Her heart swells with an emotion she can hardly name, a mixture of awe, love, and an overwhelming sense of gratitude. This life, so fragile, so precious, is now her responsibility. "She's beautiful," Emma whispers, her voice hoarse, barely a breath. Alana watches silently from the side, her heart heavy but hopeful. The atmosphere is different now. There's no more tension, no more anger in the air. Just the quiet hum of a new life, the birth of something miraculous. Emma looks up at Alana for the first time since the birth, her eyes no longer filled with suspicion or judgment. There's no longer any room for hatred or preconceived notions. All she sees is a woman who helped her through one of the most vulnerable moments of her life. "Thank you," Emma says again, but this time, it carries a weight she didn't fully understand before. I don't know how to thank you." Alana simply nods, her eyes soft, the words unnecessary. It's enough. This moment, this connection, is all that matters. There's a sense of grace in the room, a feeling that transcends the physical and enters the spiritual realm of human connection. Emma glances down at her daughter again, her eyes searching for the perfect name, the right words. She runs her fingers gently through the baby's soft hair, taking in the wonder of what she's holding. And then it comes to her. Grace. Grace, she murmurs aloud, the name feeling perfect, natural, as if it had always been waiting for her to find it. Grace, she repeats, the name solidifying in her heart. It's not just a name. It's a symbol of everything Emma has received without earning it. The baby's birth is a gift she never thought she deserved. The kindness from Alana, the compassion in the face of hatred, is a gift she didn't ask for. Yet here it all is, wrapped up in the tiny, delicate form in her arms. She looks at her daughter, this beautiful girl she's brought into the world, and something shifts inside her. A quiet transformation, like the turning of a page. I don't deserve this, Emma whispers, almost to herself. Her voice cracks under the weight of the realization. But Grace, her daughter, stirs in her arms, a small smile tugging at Emma's lips, and for the first time, she feels like she might. Alana stands a few feet away, her arms folded in front of her, watching with quiet contemplation. Her gaze shifts between the baby in Emma's arms and the mother herself, who is still processing the flood of emotions washing over her. Alana, too, feels a shift in the air, something palpable, something subtle. It's not in the words spoken, but in the stillness, in the understanding that seems to grow between them, even without a single more word needing to be exchanged. The room is silent, save for the occasional coo from Grace, the baby's tiny hands reaching out toward the warmth of her mother's skin. Emma's eyes linger on her daughter, as though trying to hold on to this fleeting moment of quiet wonder. It's hard to believe how quickly things have changed. How, just hours ago, she was full of bitterness and fear, fighting against the world around her. Now, she's holding a life that she created, a life that will depend on her, and on the world around her. A tear slips down Emma's cheek, but it's not the angry kind. It's soft, almost tender. She looks up at Alana, finally finding the words she didn't have before. She feels the weight of her past, her prejudices, and everything she had been so blind to, and now, she feels the need to apologize. I'm sorry, Emma says quietly, her voice wavering slightly. It's a simple statement, but the sincerity in her tone is unmistakable. She pauses, looking down at Grace again, feeling the swell of emotion in her chest. For everything, she adds, the words carrying the weight of years of ignorance, of misunderstandings, of hatred misplaced on someone she never took the time to understand. Alana meets Emma's gaze, her expression unreadable, but there's no resentment in her eyes, no need for Emma to explain herself further. She knows that words can only go so far, but actions, especially the quiet kind, speak louder than any apology ever could. It's okay, Alana says, her voice calm, steady. There's no anger, no expectation. She simply accepts the apology, not because it's what she's been waiting for, but because she understands that sometimes, change comes in unexpected ways, in moments like these. It's all right. A silence stretches between them, comfortable and unforced. Emma nods, feeling something release inside of her. It's a feeling of lightness, not just the physical relief of having given birth, but something deeper, something more significant. She realizes that change doesn't always happen in grand gestures or speeches. It doesn't come in the form of sweeping declarations or dramatic confrontations. Sometimes, it's in the quiet moments, the small acts of kindness and understanding that, bit by bit, transform hearts and minds. She looks down at Grace again, this time with a sense of clarity. The baby stirs in her arms, her tiny body shifting as she snuggles closer to Emma's chest. Emma's eyes fill with tears once more, but this time, they're different, not from pain, but from a deeper understanding. I'll do better, Emma whispers to her daughter, as though making a vow. I'll be better for you. Alana steps back slightly, respecting the intimacy of the moment, but she watches with a sense of quiet pride. Emma may not have fully processed everything just yet, but the seed has been planted. There is change happening here, and it's as much in the mother as it is in the nurse. Emma's gaze never leaves Grace's face as she continues. I used to think I knew everything, but now, I see how much I have to learn. Her voice breaks slightly, but there's a strength behind it. And I'll learn, for you, for all of us. The words hang in the air, soft and gentle. Alana's presence in the room, the kindness she showed, is still present, a subtle reminder of what humanity can be when stripped of fear and prejudice. As Emma cradles her daughter, a small smile plays on her lips, one that speaks of both grief and hope, of old wounds and new beginnings. Change doesn't come in a single moment, but in the steady, quiet course of time. One heart at a time. One soul at a time. And for the first time in years, Emma feels the stirrings of something like peace. A peace she never thought possible. As Emma's world crumbles and she learns to lean on others, one truth becomes clear. No one is truly invincible, and no one should ever be overlooked. We all have a story, a struggle, and a lesson to teach. It's time to listen. So next time you see someone in need, don't hesitate. Reach out. Show kindness, because you never know when you might be the one who needs it most. Share this story, and let's remind the world that we rise by lifting others.